We've been talking about the Abzug or withdrawal. So how do we actually hit on the way out? Let's talk about that today. Jeffsai, Forte Swordplay. So today, let's talk about a topic that we have kind of introduced in recent weeks, the Abzug. So Meyer has a term, Abzug, which very roughly means, from a military perspective, withdrawal or retreat, right? So we've had a whole other video where we actually kind of go through his nice little chapter, where he has some nice colorful language about, there's not a day that goes by when people don't go in and even manage to actually get a hit on somebody and then screw it all up by not being able to get out safely, right? So how do we do that, right? So one of the ways, I mean, we can kind of sit here and actually really talk about this very theoretically, but at the end of the day, we want a fence. We want to actually be able to execute this stuff, right? So rather than kind of continue to just lean into what I think is very commonplace, which is people tend to just focus on going in, getting the hit, and then still needing to have a whole plan to actually exit somehow and not get hit. Meyer actually gives us some really great advice about this idea of withdrawal cuts, and specifically the idea that you're actually hitting while you're already getting out, right? So again, how do we actually do that? So here we can actually put together some mechanics based on some footwork things that we've done in the past. So I'm going to reintroduce the concept of the box step and the reverse box step. And basically, when you put them together and you actually do the transition from box step to reverse box step, there is a natural built-in opportunity to do a good covered withdrawal while you hit. So, okay, let's actually kind of remind ourselves of how that works. Andre, you've been teaching this pretty regularly, at least the box step, if not the reverse box step. So do you want to maybe just kind of take us through those two things and then maybe like one good example of how to actually transition between them?
Yeah, so we've done videos on these topics, but we're really going to focus on the withdrawal cut today. So for the box step, call it the box step because it's advancing, gathering, retreating, and gathering. It's this pattern that's great for partner drills. But generally, what we do with this is we advance with the attack, we retreat with the parry. But when we want to set up for a withdrawal cut, we want to switch that in rhythm in the middle. So if we get started here, just doing our regular drill, there are a couple of ways that we can do this. One of them is I can get close and cut on the withdrawal, right? Or a little bit prettier.
Uh-oh.
Parry while stepping in,
like
lining me up for this cut,
yeah.
Leaving me, I have a wall here, so not today, but with a direction that I can exit past my opponent as I'm cutting them on the outside of their threat range. So,
so can you break that down again, and this time actually focus on the footwork aspect of it?
Sure.
Right. And I'll kind of come in afterwards to kind of talk about maybe generalizing this, but like if we have like one good example of like how do you actually do the transition from the box step to the reverse box step?
Yeah, for sure. So it can either be done with a passing step where you would normally step up for the box. You just pass instead. Actually, that would be with the left foot. So it would be, we step in for the attack.
Yep, sorry. Boom.
Yep. And where I would gather here for my retreating parry, I'm instead just going to step in with my attack and step all the way through with that parry, bringing me closer to my opponent, lining me up for the follow-up attack. What might be more comfortable for some people, and especially when you're going at speed, the passing step is very easy, very comfortable when we're doing it slowly like this, but at speed, a bit of a shuffle step, adding in an extra step can really help you keep your balance, keep your rhythm as you're going. That looks like this, coming in, stepping back, right? So normally, right there, I touch down, and then I advance. When you're going fast, that can be really helpful, right? Not as smooth as I'd like, but
yeah, that's all right. So
demonstrates the idea.
And actually, so to that point, like what I want to do in a minute, and whether I can be the person executing or you can, your preference, but I want people to see the actual drill, right? And again, it's a drill. We're doing it because we're trying to get better. There may be some parts which are messier or whatever, but hopefully the idea is as we do it, that messiness kind of goes away. So yeah, however you want to do that.
Let's have you demonstrate it. We figured out the better camera angle before.
Was it this way?
It was this way.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so here we go.
So we're just going to do it naturally,
Yeah,
and you're
we're
going
just
to
gonna
show the camera what it looks like.
And notice, even after I do it, I keep going. I continue my movement to make sure that like he's not chasing me, that I don't have to basically keep those actions still going.
So the masters tell us, keep those blade actions going anyway.
Yeah,
it's just good insurance.
Yeah, it's just, exactly. It's good insurance. It costs you very little to do it, so do it, right?
Especially when you're dueling. It's not like you got to turn around and fight the next guy.
Yeah, well, that gets into, some of these mass melee things that we've been talking about for IGF. Totally other separate thing. But anyway, so that was one good example of using that simple pass, right? So basically I did here. Actually, let's do it one more time. So so from here,
easiest to remember when you're actually doing the drill.
Right. There, right? So I did sort of like 2 passes in a row. So personally, what Andre said about sort of that second variation, I actually kind of prefer the more of a stutter step kind of approach. And here's sort of like a mechanical metaphor or other example reference, right? So if anyone's ever done tennis, obviously like that's something that's happened in real time. You have to be at the right place, in the right position, at the right distance from the ball, all that kind of stuff. And so like in tennis, one of the things that they teach you is to take these little adjustment steps as needed so that you are set up at the right time to deliver the right torque and power and everything. But it really requires that your feet are there at the right time. And so by taking actually additional steps and making them really, really small, you can ensure that eventually like you will land with your foot on the ground at the right time, at the right distance, blah, blah, blah.
You spend more time with your feet in contact with the ground.
Yeah, like these kind of little adjustments.
You have that moment, which also means that if your opponent pulls a fast one on you and all of a sudden you've got to bail out.
Right.
Luckily, I had my foot planted. I can dip.
Exactly. So not saying that you can't take like bigger passing steps. Just be sure that you don't need to make an adjustment in the middle, right? So it's really kind of a confidence thing in terms of like, are you sure you know what the opponent's about to do? So I'm going to do the same thing, and this time with the stutter step as an example, and this just feels more natural to me because again, I'm trying to make those little adjustments in case something weird happens along the way. So here we go. Right. So you can see that for Andre, like he's already well acclimated to
yeah, my familiarity with the drill is the reason I can parry readily.
Yeah, but notice the things that he's doing automatically to avoid getting hit on the outside, which is there's an automatic body shift, body lean, and that sort is coming
lean,
up.
deft head movement, and cover.
And,
I need all 3 to make it.
Right, and notice like this kind of like body lean sort of thing, which you definitely see illustrated in the sources. Again, it just kind of happens very naturally when we're doing this more continuous dynamic kind of footwork rather than coming to a stop all the time like this, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing that I wanted to end with. We'll do the drill just kind of like one more time, and I'm going to emphasize not only just the footwork in order to make the transition between the box step and the reverse box step to the withdrawal cut, but also I do the hit, I withdraw, and then I keep my defense going just in case. Okay, so
slow at practice speed.
Yeah, at practice speed, I think is pretty fine. So hopefully this will be something that you guys can kind of see and take in practice. And really, just if anything, the big takeaway is try to work on that sort of more dynamic footwork with the accompanying blade work and play with this stuff. See if there's a way where you can hit not always going in, but actually sometimes on the way out.
Yeah. And we're giving one relatively advanced example just to demonstrate the concept that you can attack while leaving. Right, so keep in mind there are many other arguably safer ways to attack while leaving.
Yeah, 100%. And so go experiment. Okay, there we go. And then we could actually set up and continue it. There we go, right? So hopefully, good illustration for today, and take it and run with it. See you next time.